Howdy there, friends. I'm not going to keep that up the whole time. Anyway, good to see you guys. Software is finally cooperating with me. I was having a bit of a problem with, had an update that I needed to do, and it was fiddling with my capture software. Stuff that doesn't really matter, you're not here to hear about, but anyway. So that explains my minute or so being late. But yeah, I'm otherwise just about ready to get started. Yeah, let's, I think that is my coffee done, so I think I'm going to pour myself some while we go through the loading screen. And then, oops, and then we should be about good to go. I'll apologize for the background squeaking. I tried to oil my chair, but I couldn't find exactly all the springs I needed, so I'll maybe eventually figure that out. Yeah, so as we get started, welcome for now. As more people trickle in, we'll continue discussing things. So, a couple of things I do want to carry over from last night's stream. Kind of. We left off with Mass Effect last night. Just after Shepard promising to track down a wanted criminal to the ends of the galaxy forever and ever and ever and ever, we'll never let him go, and the bad guys will never escape so long as the good guys keep looking or don't give up, or something along those lines. Great line. Fantastic line of dialogue. Shepard being a badass, threatening somebody who needs threatening. But now the fun part is that for this game, we're on the opposite side of that. We're the wanted fugitives, fleeing from the law, possibly even seeking redemption, which, hence the title, you know. Arthur is, at least. A couple of others are, at least. But yeah, I think that is that brings up some issues concerning justice and call it law enforcement if you want, but what we do about injustice. Yeah, with our horse Cinnabon. Cinnabon? How do you pronounce it? Is it Cinnabon, or is Cinnabon the trademark? Why am I not wearing a hat? That isn't right. I should. Oops. Yeah, there we go. That's important. Oh, yeah. So as we left off, we were just finishing up our night out drinking with Lennie, my good friend Lennie. I, quite frankly, do not remember what we were supposed to be doing. We just got back a little while ago from meeting with Hosea, up hunting a giant bear that we never wound up getting. What does he want to do way over here? That's an old ranch. So there's always breaking Micah out of jail, which we ought to do at some point tonight. Hence the thumbnail of this video is Micah. Good old awful chaotic energy Micah. There's been a meme floating around that's super relevant to that. Maybe you'll find it somewhere. The whole, you don't have, it's something along the lines of, you don't have chaotic energy, you just make bad life decisions. And I think really that that describes Micah 100% to a T. yeah, no, there's not much of an excuse for Micah and his behavior. Javier, that's in a little bit of a, that's rescuing somebody from a hangman's noose. That's always fun. Let's pick up our quest from Leopold, from Strauss. And we will, on our way there, we'll talk about this whole fleeing the law and all that entails. But yeah, we're gonna go and pick up some debt collection jobs from Strauss, our camp usurer, if you will. Let's slow down a bit. Give Cinnabon a nice brush. Do I have any good... Whoops, not that. Alright. Oh. I should probably eat something myself too, but... yeah, that's a problem. Anyway. So we were talking last time, when we were playing Mass Effect, about... Sorry there, friend. We're talking about pursuing criminals, especially dangerous criminals. And given their reputation, if you want, that's for that. Dutch's gang, all of them, are pretty significantly dangerous folks. These are not, non-violent criminals. These aren't like white-collar crime type of people, with the possible exception of Strauss and what's his name, the really flamboyant fella. But with those couple of minor exceptions, most of the people in this gang are cold-blooded killers, or something damn near to it. So, we do have the kind of the same seriousness that we should be treating this with, as Shepard last night's stream dealt with the Batarian terrorist. Okay, well, at the same time, Shepard promises to go after this terrorist to the ends of the galaxy if necessary. Right? Just like our Pinkerton friends have promised to come after Dutch and the gang to the ends of the earth, as far as they'll run, they'll keep pursuing. It's an interesting parallel there, because we can see it now from both sides, right? From both sides of the problem. I think there's something to be said for this side of that problem. Ooh, what is that?
There we go.
That's a turkey. Okay, I want it. Oh, damn it, come on. There we go.
Yep. Hey, who's there?
How do I put away? There we go.
It's Arthur.
Hi, Bill.
Look who's back.
So anyway, we get sort of two angles to this. So we have the law angle last night. Tonight we have the outlaw angle of it. And I think, like I said, there is really something to be said for the sort of called the outlaw side of being on the wrong side of the law, if you want, right? And it's worth. Kylie, yeah, CJ's probably going to be on and off. She's actually working on editing another video of mine at times as well. Probably working on stuff for D&D. If I had to guess. All right. Not gonna play dominoes yet. Maybe later. But yeah, she'll probably be on and off throughout. And let's listen.
And I miss them. And I would throw myself in the ground in their place 100 times over if I could. But things, they don't work like that. Listen, We need to keep pushing. It ain't time yet to let things wither and die. All those dreams we had, it ain't time. Because that's all we got. That's all that anybody has got. Dreams. Ideas. It is that or be a monkey. And right now I am picking us for angels, not monkeys. So you stay with me. You stay with us. Because things are gonna get tough, but we are gonna get where we want to go. Listen. And listen good. It ain't the time for doubting. Otherwise, Mac, Jenny, all of them, they died for nothing. Don't make it like that. For yourselves, I mean, because me, I'm going forward. Because going forward makes me an angel of God and not no monkey. So, ask yourself, what is a man? And there's your answer. Walk like a man who knows that there is a heaven above, or scurry and hide up a tree like some God-forsaken monkey. You know that's the truth. How are things?
Man, that's... yes, I do, Dutch. Follow the plan, Dutch. Yep. No, I gotta admire Dutch's sort of cult of personality he gets going here. Let me give him that turkey I just got.
Run out of meat here soon if we're not careful.
And yeah,
This is all I got for you.
not much, but fish. No, I'm gonna use that for ammo. Use the rest. Okay.
Thank you, Arthur.
Okay. Well, that's something. Anyway, yeah, you gotta really admire Dutch's charisma, if nothing else. Now, of course, it's worth noting that you'll notice he said basically nothing there. It was a pretty much content-free speech. But it was still, it was still one of those pick yourself up and be a man kind of thing, motivational, certainly, but his only point was motivation. He's very much the cult leader type. Let's see about Strauss.
I'll cut you in.
Loaning. Already?
You know how it is. People is happy to borrow off someone like me, but more enthusiastic paying back to someone like you.
Of course. Who are they?
Let me see. Chick Matthews works at Guthrie Farm. He's a hand, I believe. Mr. Roble, the small holder at Painted Sky, runs the operations there, badly. Miss Lily Millet is a ranch maid up at Emerald Ranch.
And here was me believing Dutch's bluster about us helping folk.
It's legal work, Mr. Morgan. Debtors belong in prison. We are doing them a favor.
Aye, and I'll make sure they see it in them terms.
Put the debts in the deed box and try not to kill them. It's very bad for business.
That's not a lot of information. All right. So yeah, let's get going. I do want to go either straight to Micah, or if there's a debtor on the way to Micah, we can. Oh yeah, there is. Look at that. There's one right there. Oh, it moved everything else off. So I guess I got to do these. All right. Let's just do these then. Yeah, so debtors belong in prison statement seems problematic to me, Kylie. So it depends on how, how debts are handled, right? So this comes a lot to systems of contract, if you want, right? So that's one really significant way of figuring out the moral value of that question. I mean, of what do we do about debts, and what is the line between honest lending and usury, if there is a line. So there have been countless attempts to try and define usury carefully, and even more attempts to try to define usury not very carefully. It is in a lot of cases, it is one of those confused concepts that kind of gets abused to sort of decry things that the speaker does not like. But that said, right? So there are certainly moral aspects to loaning and especially to debt collection and any of that. What's this guy doing?
Hey there, mister.
Okay.
Why, hey there.
Look
Look at this, my friend.
Oh.
Tobacco. Nature's gift to us all. Focuses the mind like nothing else.
Whatever you say.
Well, I say, why buy it off the shelves when you can make your own? Well, plenty left here if you're interested. I'd best keep moving.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, so
Here you go.
So the question of debt collection and debtor's prison. Debtor's prison was around this time really common, and years before, probably the most common way of settling debts, and it was primarily a way of working off a debt in a secure manner, and it was especially common for cases where debts weren't secured. Right, so today we mostly have only secured or partially secured debts. Did that work? Yeah. There we go. All right. Where's my hook on the weapon away? There. All right. This is a habit of mine from playing this game a bunch, of just kind of going hunting as I go. So forgive me if I get distracted by a healthy-looking animal that needs to be made unhealthy and dead. But in any case, right? So the oh hey, I got achievement. Didn't realize that. So the issue with debt and debt collection. And the reason at this point in history and the lead up to it for debtor's prison is largely unsecured loan. So if a loan like we have today, hey WizKid, loans like we have today are secured against some piece of property that can be repossessed, right? And there's corresponding ethical dilemmas to do with that, but in general, that is the sort of more modern way of handling debt collection as opposed to debtor's prison. Debtor's prison was the more old-timey way
Knock, knock, Mr. Robe.
to deal with the problem.
God damn it. English? You speak English?
Me, Silesia.
Yeah, good for
Upper
you.
Silesia.
I'm here for money. You borrow from a German man?
Aha, German. Mein Herr, sprechen the Kaiserreich.
I don't speak German neither. I'm here for money. Money that you borrowed from Leopold Strauss.
Leopold Strauss.
Yeah. So it's time to pay. Where is it?
Well, no, have nothing. It's very bad winter.
We've all had a bad winter, pal. Where is it?
No. Nie, nie.
Now, you remember where you're keeping that silver?
Potrzebuję trochę czasu. Znajdę ci pieniądze.
No, still don't understand you. God damn it, you have a debt to Herr Strauss. Pay up!
Stop! Już nie mam siły. Przestań! No, 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 no. Please, no. I don't have money, but I have this. It's good. It's good. It's valuable. It's Warszawa, yes.
I have your things, okay? I have anything in here or out there.
All right, so you see at the beginning stage of Arthur not exactly being a good man or even a man seeking redemption, really at all, at this point. So, WizKid, to your question, what makes our the system of call it of secured loans, right, of repossession and all that, what makes it better? I mean, I'm not sure if it is categorically better. I mean, there are benefits to it. People don't get thrown in prison. People don't get taken away from their lives and their family, all of that. But people can lose a lot of what they have, right? And potentially everything that they have if it's repossessed. So that is that's its own set of problems. So both versions have their own set of problems, but it's important to note that if we are talking about debt collection, all right, that'll do. Okay. If we are talking about debt collection, then we are talking about somebody who made who took out a loan. Well, voluntarily took out a loan, and so made a contract and made an agreement. Going back to, I think we were talking about this last time we were playing Red Dead, that there are different sort of models of contract theory. One of which is the exchange of, that any contract represents the exchange of goods, either current or future. Right? So debt, so a loan, is exchanging current goods for future goods. Basically, it's you're borrowing against time preference. You'd rather have more. Rather have less now than more later, right? And if that's the case, then you agree to pay back more later than you receive now, right? So in that case, yeah. Let me get that deer. Let me see how are those. Oh, crap. I need to pull it back here because I need to skin the thing. So if a contract is an exchange of goods, right? So if a contract is exchanging a current amount for a later amount, then part of the difference there is if it is an exchange of property, then you have, by violating a contract, what you've done is essentially, at least analogously, stolen the property that you exchanged, right? So it's something akin to theft by way of fraud. Marshmallow Test, which really just tests time preference. I'll kind of address that momentarily, because it's very, very relevant to this question. Of course, it is worth noting that there are a lot of cases where no, your time preference is not that absolute, that you do in fact have a positive time preference. You would prefer some now to more later, at least in some cases. There's a lot of times when that is the case because you need something now. Otherwise, you would never consume anything, right? So yeah, the question of what is a contract? If that is the case, if we are going off of the exchange of current for future goods model of a contract, especially a loan contract, then part of what that means is that you've essentially stolen from somebody. The rub is that you don't have the goods to return to them, right? Because you haven't gotten the money back, right? So that's why debt collection is a thing. You collect the debt. In other words, you collect what you have borrowed. You collect it to give back to the person, and someone can be justified in employing proportionate violence in those cases. Now, maybe somebody like Arthur is a bit heavy-handed. Let's say that is certainly open to criticism, at least. But barring that, right, assuming that force is proportionate, minimum required, all of that, force is justified in collection of a debt if it is an exchange of property like that, because it is, in that sense, reneging on a debt is a kind of theft through. Great. All right, I'm going to charge right back at him. All right. So bounty hunters, that's neat. So in any case, right, if that is the case and we can say that debt collection is justified, then the only thing left is the... who is that? Is the question of proportionate use of force, all of that kind of question, right? And that's it's the blind guy. Yeah, I'll give you $1.
Help a blind man.
Have this.
I sense great confusion in you, sir. Great confusion. Not because you do not know, but because you are afraid of what you know.
Well, okay then. Thank you, I guess.
Okay. Sometimes those are insightful, and sometimes they're just kind of rambly. I think that was kind of more of the rambly kind. In any case, so then the question becomes, what do you do about an outstanding debt? All right, if debt can be justifiably collected, all of that, then what do you do about it? Well, we have a couple of options at least. The couple of options that we just talked about are our debtor's prison. So what's typical in sort of pre-19th century? I believe you. I'm gonna try and do this without losing any honor.
Transporting a fugitive. What are you doing?
You're done now.
Oh, wrap him up.
Doesn't count against your honor if you just kidnap him. But he saw me.
Heaven help me.
Somebody saw me, darn it.
Okay, girl.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to keep my bounty from going up anymore. Put on that. Yeah, so in any case, Oh. That is the easiest way of taking down one person at a time. Anyway, yeah. So we have the possibility of debtor's prison. We have secured loans, and we've got other options like beating the crap out of somebody. Right? Yes. There you go. Damn it. Oh, that's a lot of bounty hunters. Let's leave. Do that. Oops. I may have made a mistake here. Anyway, I assume that this is I'm going to assume that that guy who says he was innocent is really innocent and that I did the right thing there. Probably didn't, but who knows. Anyway, moving along pretty quickly. So we do have this this question of which is the appropriate method of which is the better way of dealing with debt collection. This is gonna suck. Okay. That's not good. Come on, horse. You're okay. You're okay.
Don't give up on me, girl.
Oops. Yeah, so anyway, let's keep moving. Okay, so I have a bounty now, so that's fun. I shouldn't have done any of that, but whatever, I did. Anyway, oops. All that was a terrible mistake. Right, so anyway, means of debt collection. I honestly, I think either method, right? So debtor's prison or collection on a sort of liened property. Either one can be justified. It's just which is the let's say which is the least amount of force and which is the less invasive way of collecting on the debt. Right. So. Oh, what do you want me to name the video? The stomach principle. That'll work. The stomach principle. So relevant on. So WizKid, you have a relevant discussion other than the questions of everyone talking in Spanish that I could decipher. I just don't have the energy to at the moment. Says you say, since we're talking about contracts and such, what's your opinion on the problem of having surplus food that's still not technically edible, but not feeding the hungry with it? And Kylie says that the extra food is a waste if it's not shared with those that need it the most. Waste, maybe. It would be the ethical term would be supererogatory to give away surplus food. Even if it's absolute surplus, it would still be supererogatory. You wouldn't have a strict moral obligation, right? You wouldn't have an enforceable obligation, certainly. But it would be good of you. It would be charitable to give it away. Now, there's a flip side to that, which in current circumstances, in most cases, that sort of thing is illegal for liability reasons, at least in most jurisdictions of the U.S. And that is its own moral quandary, right? That brings its own problems, right? Prohibiting the giving away of food in situations like that are okay. Damn it! Oh, I'm gonna need this again. Now, I could do this the easy way and shoot the horse, but I don't want to do that. In small part because shooting horses is dishonorable in this game under any circumstances whatsoever. So WizKid says, I agree, Kylie. Why can't we just write up a no-fault contract with the homeless in the future if they come down with something? So that would be an option under a system of pure contract, right? However, those sorts of contracts limited liability contracts are usually not enforced and usually aren't enforceable under the current legal system. Darn, almost got him. Got him. I sort of kicked him. Oops. Okay. Well, I knocked him into a train. That sounds like his fault.
Well, this map better take me somewhere good, or suppose there ain't much I can do.
Okay, well, let's find the map. Not that. Yeah, well, still his fault. Chick's treasure map. If something should happen to me, all my worldly possessions are stored here. There's a tree. It's in a hole in the tree. That's super vague, but okay. I think I could find it. Oh, it just tells me. It's easy. Okay, fine. I guess I'll do it the easy way then. A little disappointed that it was that easy. But yeah, if a no-fault contract like that could be drawn up, then that would be presumably at least a good solution. This is similar to questions of experimental drugs, right? So if you've seen the movie Dallas Buyers Club, it's a great example of this sort of a quandary where somebody is terminal, has a terminal illness, and there's a drug that hasn't passed any FDA testing or anything like that. This movie is based on a true story, and this is the kind of thing that happens all the time. People are being, roughly speaking, prohibited from taking potentially life-saving drugs or undergoing potentially life-saving procedures because they are potentially dangerous. They could be dangerous. Right. Now, prohibition of these contracts is, in general, it's hard to justify that ethically, prohibiting those contracts. Now, you can point out moral problems with such contracts. One of the primary such problems is questionability of informed consent. Right? So a homeless person in a case like that, right, there's a question as to whether they can fully consent to such a contract because they are, in a sense, under duress. Right, their options are sign this contract or starve. Right, so that does bring up a question about whether they can, let's say, lawfully sign the contract in the most robust sense. That said, given that the other option, as stipulated, is to starve, that is, I think, certainly a good exchange, right? So if your options are starve or don't starve, not starving is usually the better option. Barring extreme circumstances. Let's pay my bounty.
Glad to see you on the up and up.
Yeah. Whoops. So, WizKid, as you pointed out, the other alternative would be to steal the food, but again, that also has its own problems, right? That stealing is intrinsically wrong, not just wrong for its consequences.
Now, I told you I'd get you the money next week, and I'll get it.
If you didn't make it this week, who's to say you'll make it next?
Don't you take that tone with me. I thought you said you loved...
Lily, where's our money?
What?
That loan you took. It's payday.
I'm sorry. I don't have it right now.
Well, then, I guess we got a big problem, don't we?
Cooper, give him what you've got.
I ain't giving him nothing except a lesson in damn manners.
Bitch!
I'm not taking his stupid hat. I am taking a stupid hat, I guess. Okay. What do you think? Stupid hat.
Hey, you know what I do to thieves? Law
Leave
here
me
about
alone, won't you?
I didn't steal that. It's a debt.
Oh, damn it.
What do you want? I've got nothing to say to you.
no, sir.
Okay, well, I have to go and threaten this guy now.
You idiot. Keep your mouth shut, or you're dead, friend.
What is it you're after?
You goddamn hearing me?
No, please, no.
All right. I hope we understand each other. Let's go. Damn fool.
Okay, well, every piece of that quest went entirely sideways, so that was fun. Great. Incidentally, I played through this entire game at least once, and I'm yet to figure out how to save hats that you pick up off of people. Whenever I wind up getting a new hat, it disappears the next time I change clothes. So I don't know how to keep hats. I would like to find that out if it is a thing. So if anyone knows, let me know in the chat. If not, maybe I'll look it up on my own time if I get to it between streams. Anyway, so yeah, we still have this question, right? So about we have this question that I don't think I can really answer from a pragmatic standpoint about which method of debt collection is superior, right? Morally superior, and I think it does come down to individual cases, right? Case by case. Whether it's a secured debt or an unsecured debt that can be collected against assets or can be resolved through debtor's prison, that sort of thing. The other problem with debtor's prison, obviously, is that that if you put somebody in prison and make them work hard labor until they pay off a debt, their productivity goes way, way down from what they would have been doing otherwise. So their ability to repay the debt is much, much lower. So that winds up being its own sort of problem. An inefficiency of that sort of system, which makes the kind of the secured loan model, whether that's formally or informally, like Arthur's doing, it makes it more, at least to an extent, more efficient if more disruptive in some cases. Disruptive meaning disruptive to somebody's life if something important gets repossessed, or disruptive in terms of just straightforward violence, like a case like this. Are these like just strangers I can just chat with, or who are you folks?
What business you got here?
Oh, nothing. You're gonna try and shoot me, aren't you? I'm leaving. All right, I'm gonna go. I don't need to get shot for wandering nearby. Oh, look, a horse. So Raleigh asks, "Are you a bounty hunter, or are you the one handing out the debt?" So there's a guy at the camp, Leopold Strauss, who is actually handing out the debt, and I'm just collecting for him, and he's splitting the take, basically. He's splitting the interest. So more or less hired enforcer, not necessarily bounty hunter, but specifically hired enforcer for the guy who kind of rides with our gang, who issues these debts. Now, I will say, there is another there is the question of usury, right? If we can consider usury to be a proper moral category, or I guess immoral category, if you want to put it that way, typically it would be defined as one of a few things. The most relevant definition in this case, right, in cases like, dang it, I missed him. In cases like this, the most relevant definition would be a debt which the debtor does not expect the borrower to be able to repay. Right? So this would be like, what you ordinarily consider predatory debt practices. Darn. So predatory debt practices like Strauss is doing. He's setting out a debt. He does not expect people to be able to repay it, but he does expect to be able to collect, and usually collect from their property in this case. In cases like this, that would be predatory lending, if you want to call it that, which is typically what you'd call usury. And yeah, so predatory debt, it depends on whether you should consider it violence or not, whether you could consider it fraud even, which technically I suppose would be a kind of violence, if you want to classify things that way. It's a kind of aggression, if nothing else, right? Fraud. But the problem there, the other side of the issue is to point out that, oh, okay,
Mr. Morgan,
yeah,
Yes, Miss Grimshaw.
one of the girls saw that friend of yours, Mary Gillis, sniffing about.
Mary?
Yes, I never liked that woman, Mr. Morgan. Funny business.
well, okay. Ex-girlfriend, as it happens. So if it is a form of violence, then yeah, you presumably could respond with violence, justifiably respond with violence. If that is, of course, the case, now, in that case, refusing to pay an unjust debt like that would be something like self-defense, right? The problem here, or the potential problem, is the question of whether such a debt is in fact, let's give money. Let's give $8. Yeah. So the question is whether an agreement, right, like a good faith agreement like that, can be properly honored. Not contribute. I wanted the ledger. How do I stop? How do I go away? Stop. Uh-oh. What have I done? Now I'm going to stand here for a bit and talk about this for a bit, because apparently I'm just kind of waiting because I hit a button too quick. I can Alt-Tab, but that's all. Well. Maybe if enough time passes, it'll just get me out of this. So I'm stuck here. Those of you guys who are wondering why I'm just standing here, I have no control over Arthur. So maybe if somebody talks to me, it'll break me out of it. Anyway, so what I was saying about unfair debt practices and predatory lending. You can consider it a form of violence in a sense, right? In that it is. There's no expectation of being able to pay. That said, that it is a contract in the sense of it being voluntarily agreed to, right? If you voluntarily agree to the contract, then in that sense you are. I don't have a controller, Raleigh. Sorry, it's a mouse and keyboard. Still moving the mouse. It's working. I can Alt-Tab with the keyboard. We'll see. If I need to restart the game, I guess I will. But I'd rather not, but I could. Anyway, I'll just talk us through it and see what happens. But yeah, there is the now, if we are thinking about a contract like we were talking about earlier as an exchange of goods, right? Exchanging current for future goods. If that's the case, and there are no future goods to exchange at the outset of the contract, right? So if you promise to pay, I don't know, 500% interest on something, and that is far more than you would be capable of producing at that time, even more than you'd be capable of owning at that time, and you're aware of that at the outset of the contract, right? And both parties are aware of that at the outset of the contract. Then in that case, the contract would, at worst, it would be a form of fraud, right? It would be trading for things that do not exist. It would be a false contract. It would be basically a sham. Pearson, not going to talk to me. Okay, no one's going to talk to me. Uncle? No? Okay. So in that case, it would be the contract would be null, right? So if it were demonstrable that both parties knew this, right? Or ought to have known this. They had the information available to them in order to know that the contract would be unpayable, or the debt would be unpayable, I guess. If that is the case, then it seems to me that the contracts like that would be null. And again, they'd be null because it would be an attempt to exchange goods that do not exist. Right? And so if that's the case, then those would qualify as usury if we're using a definition that's at least something like that. I'm just going to... No, I can't even escape. I'm going to try an Alt-Tab. Sorry, guys. I'm going to exit and come back. No. Maybe if I just hit no, it'll resume me in a reasonable place. Oh. Well, that's weird. Okay, worth a try. Threatening the game did not work this time, so I'm actually going to carry out my threat. All right, after we open the game, sorry for the black screen for a minute or so, but I will certainly continue talking about this. But yeah, so in cases like that, in cases where an error occurred, okay, fine, I know that it'll work. Trust me, it'll work. But in cases like that, I think it is fair to say that no actual contract took place. Yeah, WizKid says, you can't, as it turns out, Arthur your way out of this. You got to give me credit for trying, right? I tried to handle this as in character as possible, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I think it, in large part, it does come down to the knowledge of the various parties involved in terms of debt collection, right? So if you could demonstrate then that the contract were null, right? If it were a yeah, we had a goddamn plan. We sure did, and it was to collect our debts and have a nap, and then go rescue idiot Micah. But nothing happened. Unfortunately, it didn't work. Hopefully this is working. It is starting back up, just to let you guys know. I just got to make sure that the streaming software is picking it up right in just a moment. But yeah, in any case, if that is the case, then certainly, as Raleigh noted, it would be a form of self-defense to refuse to pay the debt and to scare off any debt collectors like Arthur Morgan. Now, if your debt is being collected by a psychopath like Arthur Morgan, at this point in the game at least, who is apparently perfectly willing to throw you under a train car, even if accidentally, then maybe it would be prudent to pay, right? And then seek recompense later. Post a bounty, that sort of thing. Report to the Pinkertons, whatever you want to say like that, whatever the case might be. Yeah, no. Right? There we go. Let's see if this picks it up. With my, there we go. Cool. Picks it up. We're there. We're back. We're coming back. I don't actually know when the last time it saved was, so hopefully we don't have to retread too much ground. Oh, Kylie, what? You were gone from... Oh, we got disconnected? I had to restart the game. Because I was just standing there for a while. I threatened to close the game. The game didn't listen, and now we're back. Eventually. Took a little bit, but it's back up to normal. So, sorry about the delay, but we are back. In any case, yeah, in a case like that, defense would be justified. That said, just like something like just war theory, right? Self-defense in a case like this would be strictly justified, but that doesn't mean it would be. It would be. Oh no, this wasn't Spectrum's fault. This was just a glitch in the game, so I can't blame Spectrum this time. I'd like to. I usually do, but not for this one. No. But no, the I trash talk Spectrum. I really shouldn't. I mostly have good experience with them. It's my own damn fault for playing off of Wi-Fi and the opposite end of the house is the router. But I don't have much of an option for that at the moment. Anyway. Yeah, so the question becomes not just when is self-defense justified, but when is self-defense prudent? Because prudence or practical wisdom, right, the ability to make not just the morally right decision but the smart decision is a virtue, right? Prudence is a virtue. Practical wisdom is a virtue, and so it is a relevant part of ethical considerations. It is unethical to do something dumb, right? As if you have a reason to know that it's dumb and you do it anyway, that's not the right thing to do. An example I use in one of my actually a couple of my lectures on this topic is suppose there are people dying in a burning building and you're there and you can help, right? If you're capable of helping, you should do so, right? Doing so would be a good thing. Right, we're back. Let me see if I can put my hat back on. I can't put my hat back on in camp. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, I gotta turn in the debts again, but that's fine. Hopefully it doesn't get me caught. Get me stuck in place. Hi. Okay. So if you are capable of, saving people, if you I'm gonna use the ledger to purchase camp upgrade. Oh, that's what it wanted me to do. And let me see if it works this time. Yes, it does. So to do the I don't know, call it the right thing in a broad sense, even if it's stupid, is not necessarily the right thing to do. Because if it's stupid and you know it's stupid, and if you know that doing something would be ineffective, that it would automatically fail. Suppose that in our saving somebody from a burning building example, suppose you have asthma and a broken leg. Right? If that's the case, then trying to run into the building to save somebody is not the right thing to do.
Fine. Our
So I'll wait a second.
are up to date. Sad sacks, a lot of them.
Good, very good.
My pleasure.
Well, if it's pleasure you're after, there is one other. This farmer preacher fellow I met in Valentine, Mr. Downs.
The opinionated little do-gooder? Yeah, I know the one. I certainly know the type.
Thank you, Herr Morgan.
There's no need to thank me. Like you said, it's pleasure I'm after.
He's more slippery than he seems. I've tried being polite. Don't take any nonsense.
Nonsense? Me?
If he doesn't have the money, beat him.
Well, I usually do.
I know.
It's true. I'm gonna wait to go see Downs. What is this? Oh, a letter has arrived from Mary. Then, so we'll do the thing with Mary, and then we will go and do... Oh, that's Black Betty. We'll do the thing with Mary, and then we'll go and do the thing with Micah. So that'll work. Yeah, so WizKid says, I still feel bad about asthma preventing me from helping, though. That's fair. I mean, there's nothing... it's unfortunate, certainly, but it's important to note that it wouldn't be your fault. Yeah, can't we just not get TB, pretty please? Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I do feel like avoiding fatal lung diseases, just given the climate right
Dear
now.
Arthur,
Let's listen.
I've written this letter 100 times or more, and I cannot get it right. It's me. You know it's me from the bad handwriting. I know I said when we last spoke, and I was going off to get married, that we would not speak again. I know I said a lot of things, and I meant them, I suppose, at the time. But I'm not so proud as to not speak to people who care for me, or cared for me. I've been in Valentine for a couple of months. I had some bad luck, and, well, it's a long story and not an interesting one. But I am here for now. I saw a couple of the girls, or whatever the polite term is for them, that ran with you and your associates in town. And I heard tell of a man who sounded like you. I would love to see you again, if you could spare me a little bit of your time. I'm renting a room at Chadwick Farm, just north of Valentine. Yours, Mary Linton.
So a couple things. Blake says selflessness is really prized socially. Also, very true, and that actually brings up a really interesting moral conundrum that I'll get to in a moment, because that's really, I think, among other things, among just being an interesting question, that's also the central question of Plato's Republic. Whether that is the morally significant factor under consideration when you choose to do the right thing. Then WizKid says, hot take, I really don't hate her like a lot of other people do. The whole situation's just tragic. Yeah, I actually agree. I think she is... The situation is a really well-written situation for this type of story. This is a very sort of turn-of-the-century transcendentalist Western. And that kind of tragedy is exactly what you should expect from a story like this. And it's written really, really well. So yeah, I can't hate her, especially as a character. I can't hate her. Now I can dislike how she kind of uses Arthur, and I can be sad and disappointed at how everything turns out. That's fine, but her as a character, I actually love the character that they wrote and how they wrote the character. Kylie says, yeah, it reminds me of. Oops, wrong series of buttons. I wanted this so I can read chat. It reminds me of Fantine from Les Miserables type of situation where a lot of people hated her, but in reality she was drawing the shortest straw in life. Yeah. I think that's a pretty good comparison. Like, a lot of bad stuff happens to Mary, and Arthur... Oh, Jesus. Really? You're gonna do this? Yeah, let's knocked him off. That's fine. We're good. Ah, crap. Come on. Revive.
Any more takers?
Oh, no. I don't have a horse reviver. I'm so sorry, Cinnabon.
Okay now, girl.
Oh, man. Damned O'Driscolls. Well, that's the end of Cinnabon. Not restarting. Nope. Nope. It happened. It happened. I'm going to take everything that these bastards own, though. I'm sorry. Damn. Well, I still have what's his name, my other horse. It's been a little while. What? I did not want that. But okay. I have a gun now. Wait, what are you deleting? No, no, please don't delete. Please don't delete my video. Take revenge on the O'Driscolls, not on me. It's their fault. No. Nope, not doing it. Not restarting. Not restarting. We're going through it. We're going through. F's in the chat for Cinnabon, guys. F's in the chat. Although I am definitely going to eat something. Oh, I can't because I'm carrying a frickin' saddle. All right, well, I'll go handle this. Well, apparently I'm going to have to re-record a video tomorrow, so that's something to look forward to. Who do I want here? Which of you? That is a draft horse. Yeah, okay. What are you? That is... what is it? A Shire. Ooh, I like Shires. They're nice. Belgian draft horses are massive, though, so I'm going to go with the massive one. At least for now. All right, what are we going to name our new Belgian draft horse? No one can remember. It's not a replacement for Cinnabon, because that's not something we can do. We do not replace horses. We just find a new horse, because out of necessity, out of terrible and unfortunate necessity. All right, let's cut him free. Make friends.
You'll be all right.
Hey, friend. All right. It's this one right here. White mane, chestnut colored, light chestnut. Not chestnut, like tan sort of thing. Chestnut's darker than that, isn't it? I'm gonna grab my saddle. I'm gonna saddle him up. Waffles is a good option. I like it, especially with Belgian. So that's pretty good. It's a girl. So we have at least until we get to the stables to name or not name our horse. It's not technically chestnut color though. Chestnut's darker than this. WizKid. I would go with chestnut, but it's not technically chestnut color. I like waffles. It's also waffle color with whipped cream because of that mane. Yeah, I like it. Belgia, not bad. Not cutesy enough for a horse, though, I don't think. No. I don't want to shoot you. Please, no, stop. I was trying to shoot the animal. No, please don't. Please don't shoot me. I don't want to, no. Yeah, this is one that does, I think, need to be named after food. So, yeah, let's go with, am I cold or something? I'm riding like I'm freezing. What is this? All right, so let's go over there and name our horse. What's happening now?
You want to keep this up? You think you're clever, huh?
Hey, you leave her be.
I ain't afraid to get blood on my hands.
Oh, you bastard. Oh, he dropped his knife, though, at least. That's good.
You got no hope, mister. You're in real trouble now.
Okay. Wasn't my fault. I didn't shoot him, I just strangled him, it's fine. He's beaten up some lady. That's justified, I think. I'm also disgusting now, because I fell in the mud. Anyway, so that was all a terrible ordeal that I had not intended to go through. So, oops. Big ol' oops. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. First of all, I need to buy some horse revivers. That's kind of important now. Yeah, my hand slipped, officer, right around his neck, you see. Yeah, that's normal. Hershey and Arthur 2 were my other horses. So let's name Belgian. Upgrade. Services. Waffles.
Horse liable to buck you off with a name like that.
Just listen. I think it's nice, okay? Care package.
More folks still care their horses like you.
Absolutely. Appearance, nah, I'm not gonna mess with that. Equipment, not gonna mess with any of that. Good. Let's, provisions.
That horse will thank you.
Yep, that's gonna be important. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Waffles is adorable. That is a perfect name. Yeah, it's a Belgian horse, and it's waffle colored. Waffle and whipped cream colored. That is a perfect name if I've ever heard one. I don't know what is wrong with that guy, but it's that guy's a jerk. That's what he is. All right, come on, Waffles. Let's go where you're appreciated. All right. So anyway, what was I talking about before Cinnabon died? I genuinely forgot what I was talking about. So if it was important, or if anybody remembers, feel free to remind me while I talk to Mary. Oh God, wait a minute, I'm disgusting. Hold on, no, this is a bad idea. I'm gonna take a bath first. No, I need a bath. I forgot I'm absolutely covered in mud. let's not meet our ex covered in mud. Just forgot. Oh jeez. Let's be a little bit civilized, Arthur. Come on. Okie dokie. There we go. Yeah, okay. This is better.
Welcome back.
Let's do a bath.
I need a wash. You got a bath?
I got someone warming it up for you already. Just head down the corridor there.
Guys saying I might want to wash off. No, really? Yeah, she might be nonplussed. That's WizKid, but yeah, I don't know about that.
Would you like any assistance?
Nah. Yeah,
Maybe another time.
I got it.
Okay, maybe next time, hon.
Anyway. So, yeah, what was I talking about? I honestly forgot. We had been talking about debt, and usury and contracts and all that. I think we'd moved on, if I remember right. We were talking about Mary and the kind of transcendental Western story. Maybe it was that. I don't remember. Anyway, there was one thing that I did want to talk about, which don't let me forget. I want to talk about this after we go and have a chat with Mary. Yeah. So after we have a talk with Mary, I did want to talk about justice and its relationship with society and how we. Let's put on my hat. Gotta have a hat. And how how social consequences or social benefits to justice. Oh, Blake, this was your point. So maybe if you want to hear this part, come back and listen. And there will also be stuff about this in the description. So if you want to check it out and give what I have to say on the subject, then feel free to check it out later. Anyway, otherwise though, have a good night. I still do want to talk about this. I'm gonna after talk to Mary. So either way, see you later. Hopefully, hope to see you around next time. So let's see how Arthur gets along with his ex.
Yes?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you, ma'am.
That's reasonable.
In?
I'll go see.
Mrs. Lemon, a caller for you.
Hello, Arthur.
Mary?
I heard you and your friends was around.
Okay. Where's what's his name?
Died.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Happened a while ago. Pneumonia.
Bad business.
Sure.
So, well, you've been made a widow and you come here looking for me, is that it?
No, ain't like that, Arthur.
Oh, okay.
Listen, Arthur, I'm... my family. I need your help.
You mean the family that always looked down on me? And you want me to help them?
It's my little brother, Jamie.
I always liked Jamie, at least compared to the rest of them.
He's broken Daddy's heart.
Daddy has a heart.
Don't make me beg you, Arthur.
My money, my life, me. I wasn't good enough.
I'm sorry. We need your help real bad. Little Jamie's joined the Chelonians, that strange religious order.
Good for him.
They're quite mad, Arthur. They'll kill him. You're the only person he'd listen to.
So, I'm too rough to marry into your family, but it's okay to ask me to help in saving your family.
I'm sorry. I understand if you don't want to help me, but I think of you often.
Long time ago now.
I'm begging you, Arthur.
I say let Jamie live Jamie's life and not the nightmare that his daddy dreamed up for him.
Jamie's so innocent, Arthur. Please, Arthur. Will you help me?
Yeah, let's do it.
Where is he?
Somewhere out near Carmody Dell, I think. The rancher there said he'd seen him around the Cumberland Forest. I just want him back, Arthur. If you find him, bring him to me at the station.
I'll see what I can do.
I'll owe you.
You already owe me.
Skid says, this feels like the kind of crap an ex of mine would pull too. And like an idiot, I've helped her anyway. Yeah, Arthur's an idiot. That's fine. That's the kind of thing that... this is definitely the kind of thing that he would get suckered into and would definitely help with. I like to think that this kind of thing, this bit of helping out, this is an early step towards him becoming a better and more helpful person, plot-wise, character arc-wise. Big oog indeed, Kylie. Big ol' oog. But yeah, yeah, an honorable idiot, but still an idiot, WizKid. Yeah, absolutely spot on. That is Arthur Morgan to a T. He's incredibly practical, honorable, but doesn't necessarily always pursue the I don't know, pursue the right goals, I could say, but that makes it sound like he's just, you know, selfish or something, which at this point, maybe, but certainly less so as the game progresses. So it's hard to say. Oh, speaking of prudence and practicality, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about, you know, whether it's a good idea to go to do the right thing, even if you know you can't succeed. Broadly speaking, the answer is going to be no. Oh, hi.
Need a hand, miss?
My horse up and died on me, twisted my ankle something fierce. Think you could give me a ride?
Yeah, sure. Hop on.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. You know Emerald Ranch?
Oh, yeah.
Mind taking me there?
Sure.
Glad I ran into you. Huh. I raised that horse, you know. Raised it since it was just a foal.
Losing a horse is hard. Sorry to hear that.
Damn right it is, Cinnabon.
That horse did right by me. Better than my husband, truth be told. That fool. Always complaining, but does he do something about it? Man barely lifts his hand to wave the flies away. Aside from to lift a drink, of course. Marriage, for me, has been nothing but trouble. But Biscuit, he was a fine animal. Loyal, smart, brave. Didn't take no guff, not from no one.
Biscuit's a good name, too.
Had one of them mountain boys pull a gun on me once. I was riding up near the Dakota and had stopped by a nice warm patch. Must have dozed off, but I wake up and find some nasty piece of work pointing a rusty shotgun straight at me. Well, he gets wheezing on and I must have made some sort of noise because the next thing I know, Biscuit had nipped his ear clean off. Kicked his hide, too, as he was hollering away. Didn't think a man could run so fast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Waffles is definitely a better name than Biscuit. And also, waffles are better than biscuits. So it's fitting.
Should have never gone over there, honey, he says. Gee, thanks.
So, you live at Emerald Ranch then?
For the time being. I was looking for work. They was looking for some help with the gardens. If I waited any longer for my husband to put food on the table, I'd have died of starvation. I'll be moving on soon, though. Emerald Ranch, well, it's a strange place.
How so?
The owner's a mean bastard. Strange, too. Delights in bullying folk. There's a daughter, but she never leaves the house. You can see her in the window sometimes. When I asked about her, everybody told me to leave it alone. Found an old saloon there, all shut down now, but I went in to have a look, and there's bullet holes, old blood stains. Something definitely happened there, but I couldn't figure it. Just an uncomfortable feeling to the place. Either way, it's time I left, especially now I lost that poor horse. I'll collect my belongings and be on my way.
Back home?
I guess. I bet my husband's right where I left him, bottle in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, Popeye's biscuits are fantastic. I can't really complain about just about anything at Popeye's. WizKid, can we actually meet the daughter? Which daughter do you mean? You mean hers?
Oh, we're getting close now.
Olive Gardens are breadsticks. Those are not biscuits. What is wrong with you? That's by the way, that's a hill I will die on. That is not Oh, the ranch owners. No, nothing about this place is ever revealed.
This is great.
The most interesting thing that happens in Emerald Ranch is there is a wagon fence eventually, and there's eventually a lion that gets loose. Really long story, but there's a lion that gets loose.
What a lousy day.
But yeah, that's all. This is the saloon she's talking about. Right here. Let's kind of go through it and see. Okay, yeah, WizKid. Yeah, Red Lobster biscuits. Those Cheddar Bay biscuits. Those are absolutely incredible. That is just a dress in the window. Can I get in here? I thought I could. I thought there was a way in here. It's kind of breaking in, but no, there's not a way in. Okay, I was wrong. Or maybe that's the saloon. Whatever. I think this is that old general store. Oh yeah, here's the old saloon. There is, I think, a way in. You can just go into here. Can you? Could have sworn you could get in here somehow. Oh, you can. Look at that. So yeah, here's that saloon she was talking about. Yeah, I actually have some mix of their. I have some mix for their biscuits. I got the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits. They're incredible. I just don't have any cheddar at the moment, so it's kind of just sitting in my cabinet. So I'll eventually have some again. But yeah, this is that saloon she was all on about. There's nothing really at all interesting in here. Nothing that you find. There's no documents. It's just an old abandoned saloon in the middle of an actual living town. Pretty weird. But yeah, that's about all. Yeah. Wait, we threw it. Oh. Oh. Now I'm sad. See, I just don't tell me that we threw things away. Just say like, "Oh, we must have eaten them" or something. Just straightforwardly lie to me. Throwing away such good food, it just makes me utterly depressed. That is one of the saddest first world problems that anyone can deal with. Is throwing away good food.
Easy now.
Those deer. We'll get one. All right. Nicely done. All right, fair enough. Fine. Don't lie. Just don't say anything. Just let me hold out hope until I forget about it then. What? You're supposed to use a repeater on deer, I thought. Or is it a long rifle? Whatever. Yeah, so this does actually come back to the whole question of supererogatory moral action, justice, and all that. So the thing I promised that I would talk about. So this relates pretty closely to, like I said. I'm gonna try my bow. See if that's any better. Now they're running away. I'm definitely not gonna get them with a bow. Nope. Okay. Carbine repeater is much better. I'm eventually going to make a bunch of split point ammo, but probably not on stream unless I just want to sit somewhere and talk about stuff while I hit craft a bunch of times. In any case, so it's talking about justice. So the main question of lying by omission is another separate topic, and that's complicated. That's far more complicated than just don't type into the chat about the Cheddar Bay biscuits and just let me hold out hope for a little while until we never get cheddar cheese and I don't have to worry about it anymore because I forget about it. Anyway, just rely on me having a relatively poor memory. In any case, what was I saying? Yeah, so WizKid, this is actually something I mentioned to you, I think, at some point, somewhere in a Facebook comment or something, somewhere. I mentioned about this question, about what kind of a good justice is, or doing the right thing. Well, why ought we to do the right thing? And so one of the options is because it will, because it's socially expected and it will endear you to people, and even just something as straightforward as people will expect you to do the right thing, and then people will reward you for it, right? People will be just in return. The problem there is that that's ultimately a kind of what you might call sort of an enlightened egotism. Right? You're doing the right thing. You're helping people in the hopes that somebody will help you. So what you're really doing is you're just helping yourself in a roundabout sort of way. Yeah, probably a few days ago, because it was I mentioned the Republic, Plato's Republic, because the central question of Plato's Republic, especially from book 2 onwards, the first book is its own sort of thing. But from book 2 onwards, it really concerns the question of what is... I'm going to pick up my shotgun just in case. I shouldn't need it, but... Shells. I shouldn't need it, but you never know. No, stop, no. Darn it. No, I don't want a bow. Yeah, so we were talking about being good even if heaven weren't real. And that's... So it comes to the question of whether you ought to do the right thing, even if there is no possible, no foreseeable good consequence for it. And Plato makes a big deal out of this, and turns it into one of his longest texts. The other one being the Laws. Laws is longer. So I'll talk about this question a little bit in a moment once I confront this guy. Shell of safety, guys. Shell of safety, guys. Shell of safety. Shell of safety.
Can I speak to the boy?
Shell of safety.
Arthur?
Hello, son. Your sister is very worried.
The boy has chosen a path, sir. The path to truth.
Well, his sister just wants to speak with him.
Arthur? I've chosen a path.
The boy has chosen a path. He's chosen safety. What path have you chosen, sir?
I'm still searching, I guess.
We are all searching. Chelonianism is about searching.
It's also about turtles.
For, do you think?
This is dumb.
You're searching for whoever stole your common sense, you nutcase.
Are you always this negative and antagonistic, sir?
I'm not a very cultured man. Forgive me, please.
I am a fool for my God and a happy one, sir. I bless you. What do I dream about? Who are my heroes?
Just because you like turtles, don't go following these fellas off a cliff, please.
I have no idea. Turtles. Yeah, turtles. Hey, you love turtles. I love them too.
Hooray, turtles.
Jamie knows the truth. But of course, you may speak with him.
Exactly. If your teachings are so great, what harm can I do?
I'm not coming with you, Arthur!
Just come and speak with Mary, then make up your mind!
Leave me alone, Arthur! I didn't ask for your help!
Darn it. Yeah. So this was long before the days of cult deprogrammers. Of course, I think this is a case where you would need that sort of thing, certainly, because, my god, this is absurd. The weird turtle cult. Where the heck did he go? It's right through the woods. Why? Why would you do that? You're gonna trip and fall and die. Like that! Okay. The moment I say it. Okay, sorry about this. Come on, horsey. Come on, you're good. You're good. We lost him. Because I tripped and fell and died. Let's start this over. Shall we? Well, no one died, but still. Let's try this again. He's okay. No, Kylie, don't worry. Don't worry. He's okay. He's okay. He's okay. I'm just really bad about that. Everyone in this game, listen, everyone in this game is really, really bad about horses falling off of cliffs. Because it's just sort of the thing to do, I guess. And horses are not very good at not falling off cliffs on their own. You really have to micromanage them. Oh, jeez. No, no, no. No, don't do it. Okay, there we go. Alright, where is that little gully thing? Here, let's do this very carefully. What are these fellas? There. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, micromanaging horses, it's a huge pain. Yeah. I am, Kylie, doing my absolute best to protect Waffles at as many costs as needed. Means that Waffles needs a nice rest. Darn, that's not a rest. Unfortunately, Waffles is not the fastest horse. Yeah, so cult versus religion, another interesting topic, and I will definitely get to that one too. So remind me if I forget and get too caught up in justice. Actually, you know what? I'll talk about cult and religion right now too, because that is a big distinction in religious studies literature. Is what differentiates a cult, what sets a cult apart. And there are certain factors that sort of set apart a cult. Usually it's a large part of it is numbers, right? So cults are usually smaller than religions, but that's an imprecise definition. A lot of it has to do with the ability to leave, and then secret knowledge. So cults are distinctively Gnostic. In other words, they claim to have secret knowledge that is available. Oh, oops. Okay. Okay, let's try this again. Actually, got to catch up to the bastard. Yeah, so cults claim to have secret knowledge. So they tend to be Gnostic in that sense. So secret knowledge not revealed to outsiders. So what this means is that you need to be inducted. You need to become a member of the cult before you know what you're becoming a member of. Right? That's one of their methods of sort of, I don't know, luring you in. That's one of the things that allows people, cult leaders, to lure in members, is this promise of secret knowledge. Yeah, I could go and grab my faster horse. I could reset the mission and all that, I suppose. My Morgan is faster than this, so Hershey is, I think, quite a bit faster. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. It should be fine. There's an opportunity to catch up to him as you get closer when he starts like shooting and stuff. I just don't want to run out of stamina by the time I get there. But yeah, the other, so, Gnosticism, this secret knowledge part is is pretty definitive to cults. What sets cults apart, in large part. I'll cut him off a little bit. I hope this works. Yeah, it does.
Come on, Jamie, your sister's worried about you.
So yeah, that's one thing. Another thing is the ability to leave, right? So cults tend to limit your ability to leave the cult, whether that's explicitly through coercion and threats. Right? So they just threaten you: if you leave, then they will do bad things to you or your family or whatever. Which is one of the things that sociologists of religion. That's one of the reasons that they consider Scientology a cult, because Scientology has a tendency to sue people into oblivion who leave Scientology, leave the Church of Scientology. Of course, this sets it apart from religion in the ordinary sense, Because religion... Here we go. Let's see. Am I going to make it? Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Okay. Cutscene. And I didn't make it. Darn.
Please, Arthur! I'm a man now. I found something. A calling.
You're just a kid. You're making
Alright,
a
I gotta
big
focus on
mistake.
this. This is
I'm
nuts.
taking advice from you. You're an outlaw. You leave me alone. They're good people. I'm warning you, Arthur Morgan. Leave me alone.
Please, kid. Put that gun down.
I warn you, Arthur. I'm gonna... I don't want to live anymore.
Kid, just calm down.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, there we go. That was close.
Now calm down. Let's go see your sister.
Okay.
Oh, you shot me. Give me a hug. Alright.
It's okay, kid.
Have I been a terrible fool, Arthur?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But one thing I do know. There ain't no shame in looking for a better world.
I missed you, Arthur. Are you and Mary sweet on one another again?
Oh, no. That's all a long time ago, son.
Let's see if I can have a snack. Here we go.
This wasn't how I thought today would turn out.
It's been a long time, Jamie Gillis. You were a kid last time I saw you. Didn't try to kill yourself.
You know, you taught me how to ride a horse.
Too well, apparently. Chelonia, though? Really? You'd fall for that?
They were very nice to me. They're decent.
I'm sure. Please tell me you didn't give them any money.
Of course I did. They rely on charitable donations.
Jesus, Jamie, come on.
I just wanted to believe that there might be something good coming my way one day. Guess that's dead in the water.
With the turtles.
Shut up. All Father
That's
kept
clever.
telling me was, you won't amount to anything. You're not enough of a man. I had to get away. I couldn't take it anymore.
Forgive me, but your father's a bully and a coward. Don't listen to him.
Hey, don't talk about him like that.
What do you want me to say, Jamie? He's a good father? Nice man?
He won't be happy I saw you.
Please send him my worst regards.
The thing is, he's right. I'm not good at anything.
Come on, that ain't true. Tell me something you like. Don't think too hard.
Apples, I guess.
Apples?
Yeah, I love apples.
Okay. I was thinking more along the lines of carpentry or horses or something, but... Alright, go work in an orchard then.
By that token, you must really like shooting and robbing people.
I
Ha.
don't like shooting young idiots who run away from me when I'm trying to help them.
Father told me what you do.
I'm sure he did.
Hey, are you still with Dutch and... what was his name? Hester?
Yep, still the same, sort of.
And Annabelle and Bessie?
I'm afraid they're dead.
Shit. Maybe Mary did make the right choice.
No doubt. But none of it is anything like the nonsense you read in the newspapers.
So, are you two getting back together?
I told you, no. Just ask me for a favor.
You know Barry Linton's dead? Pneumonia.
She told me.
So the door's open, so to speak.
That's all in the past. We're different people now.
She's not. You seem just the same.
Well, maybe that right there's a problem. She was always too good for me. Now, let's just get you back to your sister. She's waiting at the station for us.
Yeah, so to go back a little ways, we were talking about, first of all, this is getting to be too sad of a stream, guys. Stop being sad. Be happy instead. I'll shoot you in the hand, too. Yeah, the kid ships them so hard. Yeah, it doesn't work out though. Sadly, like I said, the whole thing with Arthur and Mary is just tragic. The whole thing is tragedy. It's a really well written tragedy. It's one of those sad old westerns with a harmonica in the background kind of deal, But yeah, it's so we're talking about cults, right, and turtles. And like I said, the other thing that differentiates a cult is Gnosticism, so secret knowledge, and then also threats that keep you from leaving. It's difficult to leave a cult, whether that's explicit or just implicit. Whether that can be just if you leave, bad things will happen to you. If you leave, your social circle will be cut off. Right? Typically, cults will make their members sort of codependent, which. Incidentally, you notice both of those things happening in Dutch's gang. So that's neat. But yeah, in terms of Gnosticism, WizKid, you say there's some things about Gnosticism that Gnosticism brings up that I can respect. But putting the spirit over the flesh to the extent they do is a bit much. That's not so much the element of Gnosticism I was referring to. Oh, don't you dare, kid. So Gnosticism, in this context, I'm talking about secret knowledge, right? So claiming to know things, know additional details that are secret, that are kept only for members, only for the initiated. Having a kind of esoteric knowledge that isn't shared with outsiders. Because it isn't shared with outsiders, once you join... You only learn about it once you join. Where are you going? Hey. Jimmy.
We going in there?
Jamie. Yeah, we're going this way. Come on. You drunk? So like the Judas New theory. Yeah. That's the Gospel of Judas was a Gnostic gospel. And it had a lot of these elements to it, this sort of secret knowledge type thing, and that's actually one of the big that's one of the things that sets Gnosticism apart, and really all of the sort of mystery cults that were historically pretty common around the time of Christ and shortly afterwards, actually a little before too, but mostly around the early patristic period around the Mediterranean.
Jamie! Come home. Please, Father's been very sad.
Father wouldn't know sadness if it died in his bed. But I'll come home for you.
My boy. My sweet boy. Come on. Oh, Arthur. Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Mary.
And you, Arthur. And you.
Yeah, Kylie, you love the turtle satchel? I really want that. That's so... It's kitschy, but it's nice.
Oh, you'll never change. I know that.
That look. Man, Arthur.
I feel like the luckiest man alive, and I feel like a fool. That woman confuses me and plays me for a fiddle like no one else alive. I trust I will not make a god-awful fool of myself once more, but somehow I imagine I shall.
All right, so having finished that, I do want to next go down to Micah. Break Micah out of jail. Fine. I don't wanna. Pi USMC says this is more of a movie or a game. I've never played it before. It has really cinematic elements. One of the things I really that's really neat about it that makes the long distance riding really nice is the cinematic camera. That was what you guys saw a little bit ago while they were having their conversation on the way to Valentine. If you have a path set, like if you look at the mini map in the corner, if you have a path set, if you mark a location, you can hold the cinematic camera button, and it switches to like this, and you just ride there. It's really nice if you're going really far, and it is gorgeous. It has the nice, cinematic bars over the top. Your horse takes you there, not a problem. And you can cycle through different views. Oh, someone's shooting something. Let's see what that's about. Oh, right. Okay.
Appreciate you stepping in there. Those bastards been turning the screw on me from day one, saying I gotta pay them protection money. I told them where to stick it, and well, I guess you just saw how that panned out.
Forgot about this.
You watch yourself, all right?
Okay, I'm gonna go steal all their stuff. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot about this game that it makes a good movie. The first time I found out about this game was I was watching a couple of streams of it. I watched Markiplier. He did basically a full stream of the game, and I watched most of Co-Carnage's stream. Both with chat and commentary and stuff, but a lot of it they just sort of let the story ride, and man, it is incredibly cinematic to that extent, right? It has this this story to it, and also this really this sort of film quality element to it that you really it's hard to find in a lot of even good genuine westerns. Deadwood, which I haven't watched enough of, I still haven't seen the whole series, is probably the best of the modern westerns that I've seen. So that I've seen enough of to make anything like a judgment. But yeah, it's that sort of even that though is not really this kind of a sort of a ballad. If you want, it's not the kind of what's this? It's not the kind of deep, meaningful story that you get here. Oh, okay. I'm leaving. All right, sorry, buddy. Pi USMC says, do you have a top-tier gaming PC? Or would a normal PC be able to handle this stuff? I don't have a top-tier PC. I have a good graphics card. I have a decent video card and a good bit of RAM. But my actual motherboard is like 10 years old at this point. So it's... if my rig can handle it especially handle it while streaming, most at least relatively modern PCs could probably handle it. If you got a new PC that's less than like maybe 5 or 6 years old, you can probably handle it even if you have to turn the settings down some. This is with a lot of the settings pretty high. This is high, not maximum, but high in terms of the graphics settings. So that'll give you some perspective for it. But yeah, I absolutely recommend it, especially if you can pick it up for relatively cheap. I only actually got to this game when it was on, once it came out for PC. Yep, I had a feeling that was coming. I hate that bridge. I've died in that bridge so many times from exactly that sort of thing. But yeah, I absolutely highly recommend this game. It is phenomenal. The story is incredible. Like I said, I first became familiar with this game from streamers. Damn wolves. What the hell? There's a lot more of them than I thought. Let's just go. I think I scared them. Are they still chasing? No, they're not. They're not. Okay, we're good. We're good. Okay. They chasing me? No, we're good. Okay. WizKid, I have not played Red Dead 1. I am holding out hope, honestly. I've read synopses, like plot synopses and stuff, and I've seen a bunch of it. Not the whole thing, though. I'm actually really, really hoping that eventually they remaster it and make it and release it as a DLC for this game. I think that would just be spectacular. Oh, this guy needs something. Let's see.
Hey there. Can I help you? Just taking a look. We're with the Appleseed Timber Company. Head foreman. Still getting started on this site, but we should have some fine Big Valley lumber for sale very soon if you're interested. I'll keep that in mind. We should be further along by now, but what can you do? Look at these dolts. Not a brain between them. Listen, you got any supplies for sale? Food, medicine? Starting to run low, and I can't spare anyone to go into town. Not the way things are going. I'd be happy to pay premium for them.
Yeah, sure thing. You can have that. You can have that. Bourbon. Nah, you're not having my horse revivers. I need those. About a health cure. Yeah, that'll do. WizKid says Red Dead 1, I take it you mean, is just as good, way more desolation, but it works. Yeah, that's actually one of the coolest things about this game, is that, if you look, we zoom out all the way on the map. It's hard to see it, but you see how far this goes? The map for Red Dead 1 is here, is this area. Blackwater is right around here. John's Ranch is like here, give or take. This whole area is the full map for Red Dead Redemption 1. And after the game, in the epilogue, you can explore this entire area freely. There's even some quests and bounties and stuff down there that you can take. And there's some plot reasons that I'm not going to get into as to why you get down there and all that kind of thing. But because if you haven't played this, I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, the entire map for Red Dead 1 is part of the map for this game. And if you look at the map for this game, it's like 6 times as big. And of course, there's different... The environments are very, very different from down there. That's very like Baja, New Mexico kind of thing. Up here is much more I guess Rocky Mountains forest kind of deal. most of it is. There's some cool southern bayou and those sorts of things too, but most of it's very green compared to the area for Red Dead 1. So you say, to be honest though, don't count on Rockstar making any single-player DLCs for this anytime soon. They only care about shitty, meaningless multiplayer nowadays. Yeah, I don't disagree at all. They've been doing a lot of multiplayer updates for Red Dead, and I've never played the multiplayer for it. I don't have much interest in the multiplayer for Red Dead. I am mostly a single-player gamer. I would definitely buy a DLC that was basically a Red Dead 1 remaster, though. What is that? Oh, that's an elk. Okay, I thought that was a bear. I was about to notice that. Ah, damn it, not again. There's only 2 this time, so... Oh, I think I killed one. There, both of them. There we go. Oh, it's not the whole map? I thought it was. Oh, okay. Maybe it's not. Good to know. It's a good part of it, though. It's a good chunk. Eventually, I may get to that point. It'll be a while because there's a lot of content to this game. But I may get to that point and may actually go and check it out. You can't yet. You're wanted dead or alive, and there's just, like, the place is swarming with Pinkertons. So yeah, they're trying to feed their pups with my neck and my horse. So no, they get killed and skinned. No deal. With a shotgun. Anyway, the wolves are not nearly as bad as cougars. I've been killed so many times by cougars in this game. I can hear that. There's gunfire. Okay. Where are you? I can't see. This sounds like a trap.
I'm in bad sorts here. I took a little jolt and have managed to get myself hopelessly lost.
Oh.
I am staying in Strawberry. If you could just guide me back.
Can't think of a good reason to say no.
Oh, thank you, sir.
All right, girl.
Well, after you. What possessed me to come out here, I'll never know. You're crazy.
What are you doing out here anyway? Clearly ain't your natural habitat.
No, I'm just visiting. I'm from New York City, actually.
I really hope that guy doesn't shoot me in the middle of this quest.
Oh, yes. There was some talk at the country club about this burgeoning little resort town called Strawberry. So I thought it might be quite the trip to see what all the fuss was. Perhaps make a few investments while it was still undervalued. Take this! All right, I don't want your help! Oh my god!
You idiot. You're about to die. Well, it's 0 for 2. I have never completed that quest because that always happens. Kylie's... Oh god, no, that is vile. Don't even say that. This game does not need Wendigos. This game does not need Wendigos. But it would be absolutely thematically appropriate. There's some creepy supernatural elements in this game, too, so that would not be that far-fetched. So... yeah, I've never completed that quest, usually because someone starts shooting at me, and I have to defend myself, and the guy gets terrified and runs off. So I don't actually know how that quest is supposed to end. Oh well, whatever. Yeah, Undead Nightmare 2 for the first one. Yep. Alright, let's see if we can break out Micah. I guess. I don't wanna, but let's do it. So anyway, that's I think I've pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover about cults. So I wanted to hitch the horse. Wait, is there a cat? Can I pet this cat?
Hey, kitty.
I can pet the cat.
Hey, cat.
Can I pet the cat?
Yeah, you got people waiting on you.
Oh, sorry. There's a cat. But there's a cat. I want to pet the cat. Pagan Shrine? Which one? I found the pentagram. Not in this playthrough, but I found the pentagram. The glowing one.
Arthur! Arthur!
Howdy.
Hello, friend. Had a good time, did you?
You going to get me out of here?
I ain't decided yet.
Real funny.
Oh, I ain't joking, cowpoke. I heard so much bluster out of your mouth these last 6 months, and now I got an opportunity to watch you be silenced.
Well, you gotta do something.
WizKid, yes, there is a glowing pentagram.
Looked up to you, Arthur.
Well, that's your first mistake.
I forget where.
There's one little problem.
Somewhere up in the northeast.
There's only one of me, and there's a whole town full of people wanting to see you swing.
You got to do something, Arthur.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Viking gear. I've never actually gotten it, though. I know what you're talking about.
Dynamite?
Yeah, I do. I don't like it. I don't like this.
You might want to step back a bit.
Okay, time to run away. Oh shit. I forgot my rifle. That's not good. That's not good. I need my rifle.
Let's get out of here. Come on. What the hell are you doing?
He wasn't O'Driscoll.
Who do you sons of bitches think you are?
So Micah decides to kill a town. Did he just die? Well, good riddance. I'm going to restart the mission so I can actually pick up a rifle off my horse. Oh.
Yep.
I did the quest wrong, didn't I?
I've come from Blackwater. I'm on the trail of a dangerous gang. Colm O'Driscoll. Heard you had some sort of incident.
We don't deal with bounty hunters around here, son.
I was just wondering if I could get a description.
Well, they weren't friends. They got in a fight, 2 men got killed. Now, one of them's an idiot, the other's some kind of dumb mix, so maybe them's your boys. You can look right enough when we hang them.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yeah, this is one of those times, this, and basically this entire quest, is one of those times where I'm just like, it'd be nice to just shoot him myself. I'd love to shoot him myself. I'd love almost nothing more than to shoot him myself. Crap. I need to cook. No, I don't. I can just... I'll need that. There. Okay. There we go. Oh no, Micah died. It's so terrible. Whatever shall we do? I just wish I could shoot the bastard. And yes, he's very backstabby.
Arthur!
Very, very backstabby.
Had a good time, did you?
You going to get me out of here?
I ain't decided yet.
Real funny.
Oh, I ain't joking, cowpoke. I heard so much bluster out of your mouth these last 6 months, and now I got an opportunity to watch you be silenced.
Okay, great. Yeah, we already talk to the bastard. Alright, let's blow him out.
Maybe that steam donkey over
Might
there.
want to step back a bit.
Nope.
Let's get out of here. Come on.
No, this is a plot point. You can't just stab him.
Don't go that way. Let's get the hell out of here. I got some unfinished business. Trust me, Morgan. Trust you? You have finally lost your damn mind. Keep moving, Arthur. Goddamn, made it.
Jesus.
What do you want to do?
I'd rather not get shot like this idiot. I hate this idiot so much. Everyone hates this idiot so much. Yeah, I'd love to hop on my horse and just boogie, but he is. But that means it's the game over, and this is actually a story mission, so I can't just not. Damn it! Damn it! Yeah, fine. Strawberries will work. That'll help a little bit.
They had something of mine. My guns. I showed him, and I'll show the rest of this town. You have really lost it this time.
God damn. There we go.
Come on, this way. Yeah? Who wants to see me hang now?
Literally everyone, Micah. Everyone wants to see you hang now. Except Dutch for whatever reason.
You have to shoot the entire town. I work clean. I don't leave
This isn't not leaving loose ends either. This is shooting the entire town. All right, let's go. Oh my god, are you kidding me? I'm gonna lose him, aren't I? All right, let's go. Oh, okay, you took care of him. Good. Oh, you're kidding me. All right, well, this isn't gonna work. I'm screwed, aren't I? Okay, come on. So, this is going really poorly. There he is. Okay, bastard. So the vulnerability of the character to damage is one of my favorite things about this game, says Kevin. No OP. Yeah, absolutely. It's really rough. Then again, health tonics are really overpowered as hell, so there's that. Because Mike is a psychopath and knows how to feed Dutch's ego. Yeah, absolutely.
Goddamn ended. You was gonna let me hang. I'm starting to wish I had. And you owe Lennie, too. If he hadn't found us in time...
Yes, you will all be thanked profusely, I promise.
Yeah, well, you're lucky Dutchy's got your back. For some unknown reason.
Well, I think WizKid knows the reason, really. Hey, horse, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Waffles.
I hope so. I'm giving you a holster. My way of saying thank you. And thank you. There I was, having a dull day only for you. To liven it up by letting me help you shoot up half a town.
You're a funny fella, Arthur. Real funny. Why you act all sour all the time?
Well, you ain't funny at all. So why...
Sorry, WizKid. Arthur wasn't listening, which is pretty normal.
I'm sorry, but we're family now. Arthur, you and me. Sons of Dutch makes us brothers. Sometimes brothers make mistakes. I'm heading back to my little camp around back of Strawberry. Come see me. Maybe I can make things up to you.
So you ain't heading back to Dutch?
No, I've been a bad boy, Arthur. I ain't seeing Dutch till I can bring him a peace offering. Bye now.
Kylie, will it satisfy you to hear that you eventually can kill Micah? It takes a very, very long time, but you do eventually kill Micah. So there you go. Sometimes brothers brutally murder each other, you know, like Cain. WizKid, very, very, very solid point. Let's go see Javier, or I guess save Javier. Forget how to get there, though. Jesus. No, let's, kind of want to pay my bounty first. But in order to do that, I'd have to go all the way back to Valentine. Do I want to? That's actually, I can pay it at Rig Station. It should be okay. That's right on the way. So I think I can pay my bounty over there. So that'll work. So yeah, let's do that. That way I'm not wanted dead or alive around this entire area, because that's a huge pain to deal with. All because of Micah. Not all because of Micah, that's not fair. Before I do that, though, I want to pay my bounty first, and then I'm going to do some crafting, because I'm realizing I need food, and I also need ammo. During which I can talk about some stuff, because I still wanted to talk about, since we already discussed cults and whatnot, I still want to talk about justice, and the importance of justice, and how Plato goes about talking about it in terms of it being an intrinsic good rather than just for the sake of what it'll get you, because it will get you good things, right? Justice has good consequences. Are you kidding me? This place is closed. When do they open? But yeah, justice does get you good things, right? It does get people to treat you well in turn. People will trust you.
Welcome, friend.
Howdy.
Be a lot easier for you once you're all square.
Yeah, $85. That was an expensive mission.
West Elizabeth. I'll send a notice out.
Thanks, buddy. All right.
Thanks, partner.
Yeah, peak libertarian society, Kevin. Not exactly. I mean, you know what? Listen. It depends on the next of kin, really. If the next of kin of literally all of those people are satisfied with a sum total of $85 as compensation for the deaths of their loved ones, who am I to complain? I suspect that's not exactly the case, but whatever, what are you going to do? I'm not going to really complain. All right, let's see. Let's set up camp somewhere. I will say, payment for harm done, as long as the payment is going to the harmed parties, is a decently civilized way to handle crime. Especially compared to... I don't have any of the stuff for that, so let's just cook all of these. That is certainly a pretty decently civilized way of dealing with crime, especially crime that has a victim, crimes against persons rather than, or persons or property, rather than something which is just malum prohibitum, in other words, which is merely illegal but is not intrinsically criminal. WizKid says it makes Big Daddy government happy, at least. That's I kind of get the impression that that's what's going on here. This is more like you're basically just paying off the cops to stop chasing you. Yes, I am going to make split rounds because they are far superior in every way. So I'm gonna do that. I'm going to do cook up some food. Want to talk about justice. Actually, the what I was just saying to Kevin's point is pretty relevant, right? Because Plato's point in Book 1 of the Republic, one of his key points is asking what justice is and what it is to be just. And part of his criticism of a very classical view of justice, which is to repay one's debts. In other words, let's say, do unto others as they have done unto you. Something like that. Eye for an eye, return harm for harm and good for good, benefit one's friends and harm one's enemies. However we want to parse it. That's a pretty traditional way of describing justice. The problem with it, well, if you want to see the nuances of the problem, I have a video on it. It's titled Republic 335. After the stream, I will put a link to that in the description. That one and my entire Plato's Republic playlist also. So check it out. I don't have all of the Republic recorded. I'm eventually going to, but it'll be a little while. That is a course that I've had designed for years. So I will eventually, fill in the blanks on that and talk about the whole of the Republic. But Republic 335 is this little piece of Book 1 of the Republic, which is it serves as Plato's argument for it serves as Plato's argument against harm in general, right? That harming another person can never be a part of justice, because to harm someone is to make them unjust, because justice is what is characteristic of a human being. It's complicated, I will say. Yes, I want fire arrows, and I can't make fire cartridges yet, so I'll just make a couple of fire arrows while I'm here. Yeah, improved arrows too. Kev, good question. So do you have to pay for the disruption of commerce caused by the absence of the deceased? Theoretically, yes, right? If you can find any assignable harm, then yeah, you presumably would have to pay for it. Assignable harm just means, in sort of propertarian legal theory, if you will, assignable harm just refers to harm that you can demonstrate and measure that has been done to a particular victim. And if you can show that your crime has harmed, commerce in this case, or any other kind of social relationship, then yeah, it's you're liable to a tort. Right? And propertarian crime is typically handled through torts. Yeah, the problem here that Plato points out. Plato wants to say, look, that returning harm for harm is not the right way of handling crime, right? Because it doesn't actually help anyone. It doesn't make anyone more just in any way, right? Balancing the scales of justice is a misnomer, because you're not giving anything; you're only taking. This relies on the transcendental quality of goodness, right? So that goodness and being are convertible. Again, I have another lecture on that one as well. Check it out. The point being, though, if you're a student of mine, or if you follow any of my content, or I think most of you are probably relatively familiar with this distinction, with this key point. Point being, though, is that Plato, in this one little passage, maybe I should even say Socrates in this one little passage, because it's questionable whether Plato even carried this forward into the rest of his thought, or even into the rest of the Republic, because he kind of drops this point. This may have been just a teaching of Socrates, historically speaking. It basically undermines the justification for expiation or punishment, or an eye for an eye, right? So an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. It's not even necessarily that. It does not help the victim of the crime to punish the wrongdoer. Further, even if it psychologically helped the victim, it further harms the person who did the crime initially. All that's doing is, it's not evening things out, so to speak. All that's doing is making them worse off. In other words, making them fundamentally further and further unjust, and that's making the situation worse, not better, right? So what you would want to do is you want to the greatest extent possible, restore the victim to as close to wholeness as possible. And this is the fundamental basis for tort law, for lawsuits, right? What we ordinarily think of as lawsuits, right? As opposed to criminal law. So paying a bounty like this, if it's paid to the right parties, and if it is calculated properly, if such a thing can be calculated, way beyond that's a very difficult question to consider. But generally, it would be up to the victim. Largely, what would constitute enough payment. But in any case, right, if you could calculate that, if you could figure out what the right amount would be, then, yeah, it stands to reason that this is a fairly civilized way of dealing with crime, right? You pay back well, you might say you pay your debt to society, but we tend to mean that in terms of going to prison, right? You submit yourself to be harmed in turn for doing harm to somebody. That's not paying a debt to anybody, let alone society. That's just, being hurt because you hurt somebody. It's vengeance rather than justice. Right? So something like a bounty system is fairly reasonable. Of course, that would include payment for... Oh, man, I should have saved that animal fat. Oh, well. All right, that's all. That'll do it. How do I tear down the camp? F. Yeah. So the big issue here is with traditional notions of with expiatory models of justice. Oh, somebody with a gun again. Let's see what that's about. Is that it helps no one and harms everybody involved, and especially in most modern court systems. The trial tends to re-victimize the victim by imposing additional costs. Who am I helping?
Help! Open the damn lock, or give me the damn key. It's a stage master. Help!
Hey, shut up. Get out of here. Act like you never saw this.
Hey, isn't that? Shit, it is! Arthur Morgan himself!
Hey. I'm not good on health right now.
Mister, I don't hardly know what to say.
Let's put away all my guns first, obviously.
I guess you done me a service. Hey, look. The stage company's gonna write this off as a robbery anyway. If you can get in that lockbox, you can take what you want from it. It ain't stealing if it's already stolen.
I mean, sure, it's insurance fraud, but whatever, it's fine. Not a problem. I don't have a lock breaker, so I'm gonna have to shoot it. I'm gonna have to shoot the lock. That's fine. I'll do it. Oh, wait, let me, put my split point rounds in. Yeah, I know. Sorry, horses. That was it? Really? Okay, fine. Whatever. Alright, moving on. So WizKid says, maybe the best way to pay your debt to society is just community service. It depends on who and what you're serving, right? So community service is reasonable if the community as such was harmed. But usually the community as such isn't the victim. Right? Usually there's a particular assignable victim. And so having a literal debt to someone, especially if it's just, you've stolen from them or you've damaged their property, or if you've injured them, right? So paying them to the point where you could pay medical costs and lost wages and anything like that. What you'd ordinarily find with a tort, a civil suit. I think I ran over a rabbit. That is the kind of thing that would repay a debt to a person. Now, if it can be shown somehow that you have harmed society as such, it depends on the kind of community service that could pay recompense for that sort of thing. I have a hard time thinking of something that would, in fact, repay a debt to society as such. In part because it's hard to determine what sorts of things would harm society as such. That's a very slippery concept. So Kevin says, might the current idea of punishment arise naturally in a restorative system if the party sued refuses to pay due to a lack of personal incentive to remain active in society? Yes. But it seems that, well, okay, so think about it in terms of what we were doing. We were collecting debts, right? Oh, this guy. It's time to shoot some wolves, I think. Howdy, stranger.
Hello, sir.
Oh. Hello.
I will come back to your question, Kevin.
Sure.
What a country. I'm working on a project. Photography.
Yeah, I guess that bit.
Of course. Wildlife. That's my thing. Or that's what I want to be my thing. If I have to take another picture of a grumpy housefrau or pompous middle-class burgher, I will feed myself to the lions. Stand here.
Here?
Just there. Albert Mason.
Arthur Morgan.
Pleasure. I'm trying to find and capture images of our great predators before our greatest predators kill them all and stick them on some clubhouse wall.
Good luck with that.
Yes, not the easiest. But, well, I love a challenge. The trick is to leave a big load of meat and relax and pray they don't mistake me for lunch. Oh, good heavens. My bag, that thing is robbing me.
Well,
Oh,
it's
good
just
heavens.
a coyote.
That thing is a coyote. Sneaky one, too. Wildlife photographer.
I'm gonna need my pistol for this.
Drop the bag.
Really? Can't shoot it?
And Kyle, don't think about coming back.
I didn't kill it. I didn't intend to kill it. I was just trying to shoot it. Because I think actually he gets pissed at you if you kill it. If I remember right. Oh yeah, that's right. The wolves are the next one. The next time you meet him, isn't it? I'm trying to remember that. That one was a mess. All right, cool. So let's bring this back to him.
Got your bag.
Oh, good. Oh, thank you, sir.
Bag full of meat will tend to bring out the worst in the local population.
You are a gentleman. The bag also had a lot of my supplies. You've saved me days. Can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Don't worry about it.
You take care, sir.
I ain't the one trying to get myself eaten.
I realize I am a fool. Forgive me. And thank you very much once again.
I like that guy. He is very much a fool, but he's a good fool. Seems nice.
Fun to attract any wildlife, huh? Need some privacy.
Okay, bye-bye. Anyway, so back to what I was talking about in response to Kevin's point, right? So that might be the case that expiation kind of arises from victimizers' reluctance to repay their victims, let's say. Which, I mean, that's straightforwardly obvious because, of course, without some kind of coercion, without some kind of threat of force, then, or even, threat of punishment, if you want to call it that, typically criminals are not going to repay their victims. So sociologically, maybe we can point to this kind of development where it begins as a kind of, where punishment begins as a kind of way to extract payment, but then becomes, call it an end in itself, right? And then eventually it substitutes for the repayment. And then we lose track of repayment or restitution for the victim entirely, simply in favor of punishment. And I think it is at that point that we've sort of lost track of where we started, and that's where we we go off the rails, I guess you could say, in terms of how we ought to respond to crime. Right. So I again, generally, I am very much in favor of a restitutionary model of punishment, if you want to call it punishment, rather than a retributory or the other common modern method, which is restorative. Restorative justice is the idea that you can rehabilitate the criminal, or you can get the criminal into such a state that they will not, or that they are less likely to commit crime again, right? Yes, WizKid. The point at which our justice system is at right now, and yeah, Kevin, prison is a really good business. That's a bit of a problem, especially when what it does not serve the end it is trying to serve, which is justice.
Where's that little Irish bastard?
I'm not quite sure. Trelawney's off trying to find out.
Has anyone been in the Blackwater, see how things lie?
Place is crawling with Pinkertons, bounty hunters, pictures of Dutch and Hosea.
We got a lot of money sitting in that town.
And that's where it's gonna remain for now.
Why haven't they hanged Sean, I wonder?
I think he's bait. Really want to trial him publicly.
Gentlemen, Sean is being moved up the upper Montana, then to a federal prison out west.
Damn. Well, we can't be rescuing people from some federal prison. We either rescue him now or cut him loose.
We're not cutting anyone loose.
Of course not.
Ike Skelding's boys are moving him to a camp nearby before handing him over to the government.
So, I guess we need to stop them before they get to camp. Charles, why don't you head up on the north side, and then we'll head up on the other side of the valley and meet you. That way we have them in either direction. Javier, Josiah, come on. Let's go see.
You know, Arthur, the government, or people whom the government like, seem to be very angry.
Sure. Well, we'll rescue Sean, and then we'll get ourselves lost, good and proper. It's a big country.
I hope so.
Let's go, girl.
This actually even brings up the question of what to do about. So we're talking about, pursuing criminals, and Pinkertons pursuing criminals and all that sort of stuff, right? The kind of thing that is the fundamental basis of what you're trying to avoid in this game, right? So, and this kind of ties into what we were talking about last time, with pursuing criminals to the ends of the earth and all that. There's the boat.
Reckon those might be our boys.
I should have got a rifle for this. Darn. This mission's useful better with a rifle. Anyway.
Nice and easy. Let's make sure it's him first before you go starting another war.
You think they can see us?
If they can, we're just three fellas out on the trail. Act natural. We'll be fine.
So, you've been gone for a while.
Much as I love dodging the law and sleeping in the dirt with you derelicts, I do have other business to attend to.
What happened in New York?
You know how life is. Never a straight road anywhere.
Especially with you.
Nice to know I'm missed, though. Have you run out of people to rob?
Oh, we'll never run out of people to rob.
But without me, you'll not find the caliber of victim that I find.
Maybe. Anyway, we should keep it down.
Indeed.
Yeah, so Kevin says, I like the idea of restorative justice. As you've argued, I just tend to think that there's going to be a natural movement towards retribution, but it's definitely too prevalent currently due to money. Meaning retribution is too prevalent currently, or restitution is? Not sure what you mean.
Push up, come on. Apparently, there's a camp somewhere around here where the bounty hunters meet.
transfer before continuing out west. I imagine that's where they're headed.
Yeah. So what I was bringing up was I think that it's in large part it is the pursuit of justice in a purely retributory system, and that is I think the case. It's purely retributory in the case of the Pinkertons pursuing the gang. That becomes more than anything, that becomes a kind of cycle of, I guess, call it an obsessive quest for revenge, maybe, and that becomes a big problem.
But I hear they're a big crew, wild, built some reputation in the last year or two.
That looks like Sean to me.
Certainly kicking up enough of a fuss. Yep, that's definitely Sean.
Oh, they're giving him a decent kicking.
Well, you can only imagine the shit he's been giving them.
Oh, yes.
They're taking him up the canyon.
Yeah, okay, so retribution's too prevalent due to its profitability. Yeah, you don't have to worry about paying victims in a retributory system, so the punishers can take all of the profit, so to speak. And victims don't actually need to be restored at all. Then again, we do have a pretty functioning tort law system. It's just pretty secondary to our criminal law system, and that's a problem. But yeah, I think, like I said, it can be a problem when it turns into a sort of cycle of revenge. Not just because it's psychologically unhealthy, it is, but also it is... Let me switch from my shotgun to my bow. I'm not going to waste those. But yeah, it also becomes a problem because it becomes this obsession with revenge becomes an end in itself, and the victims get ignored, or again, even re-victimized, which is worse.
Okay. Crouch down out of sight. Take out your knife.
Fine. I was gonna use my shooty.
Let's get in the river. Wait until he's got them off guard before crossing. Wait here. He's still reeling them in.
Gentlemen, excuse me. Dear brothers, my wife is taken ill. Gravely ill.
What's the problem?
It's dear Bessie.
You take the one on the left. Okay, come on. Stay low.
I'm beside myself. If I lose Bessie, I lose everything.
Oh, calm down, mister.
I can't. I'm having a fit.
God damn it, Arthur!
What?
Come on, let's get up there.
Get me. I mean, he didn't have to shoot him.
Come on. We got two halfway up the canyon to deal with.
Alright, let's try and knife him again.
Who's the guy you got them from? Is he alive still?
Come on, focus. Oh. Focus, okay.
We're gonna have to shoot him.
Ah, damn it. Okay, fine. Like I said, this is much easier with a rifle rather than a repeater. Damn. There we go. So how do you deal with a victim that actually wants retribution as restorative payment? Well, I mean, that depends. Presumably, if that's what will restore the victim, subjectively speaking, then punishment is due in that case. So maybe, then again, I will say, so a couple of things to say about that. First of all, because the primary concern is and should be the victim, in that case, oops, okay, he's dead. Because the primary concern is and should be the victim, in a case like that, then the victim is considered restored, right? If punishment has been meted out. The other side of that is to ask, is that what the victim ought to want, right? And if we're talking about the ethics of what the victim demands, right, what should the victim demand in response, then we can kind of figure a hierarchy of what should the victim want. The highest end, damn it. The highest end of what the victim should want is pretty clearly forgiveness. Right? Ideally, the most moral thing to demand, most moral thing for the victim to demand is nothing. Because that means that the victim has forgiven the victimizer, right?
Come on, let's get up there.
And they consider themselves not to... well, not that they don't consider themselves to be harmed, it's just that they sort of eat the harm, and they forgive the person who victimized them. And that's a supererogatory moral good, again, like we've discussed before. It's obviously not we don't have a moral obligation to forgive in like the enforceable sense, in which case there would be no... that would be a case where mercy would overrule justice rather than working along with it, which is not how we should be considering these things. But rather, next after that would be something which would restore the harm done without... I thought that was an explosive. Without harming the person who did the crime beyond what they gained from it, right? So if they stole an amount of money, requiring the money returned, something equivalent to that. The next most moral thing, of course, it would be more immoral, let's say, than requiring recompense to simply require punishment, because that would be simple vindictiveness, right? That would be a kind of malice, even. And that's, morally speaking, that's morally speaking a vice. Right? Malice is a kind of vice, opposed to charity. Where's the guy? I don't actually see him. Oh, it's because he's way over there. Okay. Right, we shouldn't want to harm people, even those who harm us. Right? Now, it's just to require something in return for the harm that they've done. That's perfectly in accordance with justice. That is acceptable. But there are, of course, better ways of handling it. Like, forgiveness is morally better than demanding recompense, and demanding recompense is morally better than demanding retributive punishment. Because retributive punishment is, again, it's simply, it's simply out of a desire for vengeance, or maybe you can even say out of a kind of malice. Wanting to see harm come to somebody because they harmed you or harmed somebody you care about. Let's loot everyone really quick. But does that? Hopefully that kind of clarifies the order of things, right? So first of all, obviously you have forgiveness is the most moral thing you can do if you are harmed, but it's supererogatory. It's not a requirement of. It's not a strict requirement of. I don't want to pick you up. No, damn it. It's not a strict requirement of justice. You can't be required to forgive somebody, because if you are, then it's not forgiveness. Right. Forgiveness is dismissing or abrogating what you were entitled to by justice. It's a kind of gift in that sense. So that is the most moral thing to do if you're harmed. The next most moral thing to do is to demand restitution and to make yourself whole by taking back what was taken from you, if such a thing is possible. So in a sense, you can look at it in terms of the person who harmed you has sort of taken out a debt. They have involuntarily borrowed from you, if you want, and so you have a right to demand back what they have taken at whatever rate of interest might be reasonable. That's, compensation for harm done, and that sort of thing. Ow. Okay, I'm gonna go cut him down now, because that hurt my back.
Are you going to get me down from here?
Yes, I am.
You know, you're a lot less ugly from that other angle, Arthur.
Come on.
Do I get a hug, Arthur? A warm embrace for a lost brother now found.
You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me.
I don't believe a word of that, Arthur.
Get him out of here.
You're a great man, Arthur Morgan. The kind of young whippersnapper can really admire.
Oh, shut up. Right, we should split up. Javier, will you escort Mr. McGuire back to camp? Charles, best you ride separately. Be careful. There's patrols everywhere.
What about you?
I'm gonna see what's worth taking here. I'll meet you back there as soon as I can.
All right. Okay, come on.
Have I got stories for you?
Yeah, I can't wait.
I imagine y'all missed me a lot, but fear not, the joy's back in your lives now.
All right. Good night, Rally. I'm actually going to wrap up pretty soon. See if there's anything worth taking here. Save up. Oh, I do need to get rid of my premium cigarettes so I can pick those up. Where are my premium cigarettes anyway? Consumables? There we go. Discard. Discard all. Yeah, I like Sean. I really do like Sean. I'm disappointed at how little time you get to spend with him. You only go on like 1 or 2 missions with him, I think. It's disappointing. He's cool. He's a cool guy. I like him. He's very fun. Gin. Take some gin. What's this? Apparently nothing. I think that's probably not all. There's probably stuff in that house. But yeah, I think that is... Wait, what? Crime reported. Who the hell reported a crime? Okay, I do not have a lot of time left in here, so I'm going to head out before the law shows up. Anyway, but yeah, Kevin, welcome. Glad you able to show up. If you're interested in the game, I do have 2 previous streams to this one, so you can. Speaking of streams, I need to cross this one. I do have 2 previous streams to this one, so if you want to check those out, kind of see how we got here, catch up with the story so far, feel free to watch those. They are on the same playlist as this one, so you can check that out there. Definitely have a look. This is, like I said, like I keep saying, this is a phenomenal game. There's a lot to this. There's a lot that is worth discussing about this game as well. So yeah, definitely check it out. And I think now that we've dodged those folks, I'm going to get out of the area where I'm wanted really quick, and then I'm going to save and end. Oh, I'm already out. Okay, cool. Already out of the area. So, all right, with that, I think I'm going to call it here. So like I said, I mentioned last time, I'm going to do some, call it book club sort of things. Reading some very complicated parts of philosophy. SCOTUS is up next. I'm planning on doing that pretty soon. That'll tie in with some of the videos that Mrs. McCoy is editing just now. Otherwise, other things coming up. Yeah, I'm just going to overwrite. Otherwise coming up, I do have a video on the stomach principle. You'll find out what that means. It's about free will. That's coming up hopefully around this weekend. That should be up. And then next week, I'm probably playing Mass Effect again, and I'm either going to be playing more Red Dead, so I'm either going to continue this if a lot of people are interested, or I might switch to KOTOR 2. So I might substitute one or the other of those and play some KOTOR 2, so Knights of the Old Republic 2. Anyway, if you've got a preference for either of those, definitely let me know which you would prefer. Just kind of put a comment on any of my posts on Facebook and let me know. But otherwise, I hope everybody has a good evening, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye. No, really. Bye. 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 Okay, bye. Yeah, so, all right. So, based on, if I'm taking WizKid, if I'm taking your advice, I'm doing Red Dead Mass Effect again next week. So, tentatively, expect that, at least for a while. So, unless there's, like, overwhelming demand for something else. But anyway, bye-bye. Bye-bye for real. I'm going to hit end now. See you later.